Welcome back, and if you're new here, I'm glad you found this video, because what we're about to talk about might genuinely change the way you move through your day, your relationships, and your own mind. Today we're diving into 4 Stoic principles for immediate life transformation. Not vague philosophy, not abstract theory. Real, actionable wisdom that was forged in the fires of war, exile, slavery, and loss, by men who had every reason to fall apart, and instead chose to become unshakable. The Stoics weren't sitting in ivory towers dreaming up ideas. Marcus Aurelius was running an empire under constant threat. Epictetus was born into slavery. Seneca watched political tides turn against him repeatedly. These were people under pressure, real, crushing pressure, and Stoicism was the system they used to not just survive, but to lead, to love, and to live with extraordinary clarity and purpose. So let's get into it. Principle number 1. The Dichotomy of Control. This is the bedrock of Stoic philosophy, and if you only take one thing from this entire video, let it be this. Epictetus opens his entire manual, the Enchiridion, with this idea. He says that some things are in our power and some things are not. In our power are our opinions, our impulses, our desires, our aversions. In short, everything that originates within us. Not in our power are our bodies, our reputations, our possessions, the positions we hold. Everything external. Simple enough on the surface, right? But think about how radically you violate this principle every single day. You wake up and immediately check your phone, desperately hoping the world has arranged itself to your liking overnight. You worry about what your coworker said about you. You spiral over whether your plan is going to work out. You lose sleep over things that haven't happened yet and may never happen. You are expending massive quantities of your most precious resource, your attention, your mental energy, your peace, on things you have absolutely zero control over. The Stoics called this a fundamental error of judgment, and they're right. Every minute you spend worrying about external outcomes is a minute stolen from the one place your power actually lives, your own choices, your own responses, your own character. Here's what changes when you actually internalize this principle. Not just intellectually, but deep in your bones. You stop being a victim of your circumstances. Because victims are people who believe that what happens to them determines how they feel and who they are. But once you truly understand that your inner world belongs entirely to you, no event, no person, no failure, no insult can touch the core of who you are. The weather doesn't ruin your morning. The rude driver doesn't ruin your commute. The rejection doesn't define your worth. You do. Start practicing this today. Every time you feel anxiety, frustration, or fear rising, ask yourself, is this within my control? If yes, act. If no, release it. Not suppress it, not ignore it, release it. That distinction matters. Principle number 2, Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. I know, not exactly the motivational message you expected. But stay with me, because this principle, when truly absorbed, is one of the most life-giving ideas in all of human philosophy. The Stoics were obsessed with death, not in a morbid, nihilistic way, but in a clarifying, urgency-generating way. Marcus Aurelius wrote again and again in his meditations about the shortness of life and the certainty of death. He reminded himself constantly that emperors and peasants alike all return to dust. Seneca dedicated entire letters to this idea, writing that we should live each day as though it could be our last, not recklessly, but fully, deliberately, without postponement. Here's why this matters for you right now. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They say, I'll get to that eventually. They stay in jobs that drain them because it's not the right moment to leave yet. They don't tell the people they love how they feel, because there will be time for that later. They put off joy, creativity, courage, and connection until conditions are somehow better. But the Stoics understood that conditions will never be perfect, and time is never guaranteed. When you truly reckon with your mortality, you stop caring so much about petty social dramas. You stop letting fear of embarrassment keep you from pursuing what matters. You stop wasting Sundays dreading Mondays. Memento Mori isn't about despair, it's about prioritization. It's a filter you can hold up to every decision, every worry, every grudge, and ask, will this matter when I'm lying on my deathbed? Most things won't. The ones that do, your relationships, your integrity, your growth, your contribution deserve your full and immediate attention. Today, right now, think about one thing you've been postponing that actually matters deeply to you. Memento Mori says, start. Principle number 3, Amor Fati, love your fate. This one goes beyond mere acceptance. The Stoics didn't just tolerate difficulty, they trained themselves to love it. Nietzsche later coined the phrase Amor Fati, but the concept is deeply Stoic. The idea that everything that happens, including the painful, the humiliating, the devastating, is not just something to be endured, but something to be embraced as necessary and even good. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the impediment to action advances action, and what stands in the way becomes the way. Let that sink in. What stands in the way becomes the way. Not a detour, not an obstacle to push through and leave behind. The very thing blocking you is your path forward, because it is through resistance that character is built, strength is developed, and wisdom is earned. Think about the most painful experiences of your life. The relationship that fell apart, the career that didn't work out, the loss you had to carry. Now think about who you became because of those experiences. The compassion, the resilience, the perspective, the depth. None of that was forged in comfort. It was all forged in fire. Amor Fati doesn't ask you to pretend pain isn't painful. It asks you to stop fighting reality. The Stoics observed that most human suffering is not caused by events themselves, but by our resistance to those events. Our insistence that things should be different from what they are. When you drop that resistance, something extraordinary happens. The energy you were spending fighting what is becomes available for responding to what is. You move from paralysis to action, from bitterness to curiosity, from victimhood to agency. Practice this by changing one word in how you talk to yourself. Instead of, "Why is this happening to me?" try, "What is this making possible?" That single reframe begins rewiring your relationship with difficulty at a fundamental level. Love your fate, not because everything that happens is good, but because everything that happens is yours, and what you do with it is entirely up to you. Principle number 4, Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. This is perhaps the most misunderstood Stoic practice, and also one of the most powerful. The idea is exactly what it sounds like. Deliberately imagining the worst-case scenarios in your life. Losing your job, your relationship ending, your health declining, your plans failing completely. The Stoics were not pessimists. They practiced negative visualization not to sink into despair, but to destroy the power that fear of loss holds over us. Seneca wrote that the person who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power to surprise and therefore to devastate. When you imagine the worst clearly and calmly, two things happen. First, you realize that the worst is almost always survivable. The imagined catastrophe, when examined in daylight rather than feared in the shadows, loses its teeth. Second, and more beautifully, you become overwhelmingly grateful for what you have right now. When you genuinely sit with the possibility of losing your health, your loved ones, your freedom, you stop taking them for granted. The Stoics called this practice a cure for complacency and ingratitude. It's also a cure for procrastination and hesitation. When you realize that the worst you can imagine is something you can handle, the barriers keeping you stuck, the fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of loss, begin to dissolve. Start small. Pick one area of your life where fear is holding you back and spend 5 minutes genuinely imagining the worst outcome. Walk through it, feel it. Then ask yourself, can I survive this? You will. You always do. So here we are, 4 principles, thousands of years old, and yet more urgent than ever in a world designed to distract you, destabilize you, and keep you reacting instead of living. The Dichotomy of Control gives you your power back. Memento Mori gives you your urgency back. Amor Fati gives you your peace back. And Premeditatio Malorum gives you your courage back. The Stoics weren't trying to build perfect people. They were trying to build free ones. Free from fear, free from ego, free from the tyranny of circumstance. And this freedom is available to you right now, today, in the middle of your actual life with all of its mess, complexity, and uncertainty. You don't need better circumstances to begin. You never did. If this video resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment below telling me which principle hit hardest, and subscribe if you want more content like this. The philosophy is ancient, but the work is daily, and it starts right now.